Welcome again to the next episode, and specifically in this episode we will discuss more about the strategic sourcing, and we will discuss about what are the different pain points in the industry as a global practice different organizations are facing, and what exactly is the value add which is given by using an ERP like Ariba. So when we are talking about specific the pain points, so sourcing, when we talk about sourcing, okay, if we talk about end-to-end solution as the requirement is getting generated, the supplier is getting onboarded, and after that the sourcing comes into play. So sourcing is one of the very important factor and is a very cumbersome process across the industries, no matter what type of different industries you are working on with. So basically sourcing carries a lots and lots of complex processes, right? If you are having a basic level of procurement, then it could be a very simple sourcing practice. If the procurement is a complex, for example, if we are making a project as a dam, okay, we are creating a dam. So what different type of projects we are taking into consideration? Okay, so we are hiring different machineries, different labors, different consultancy firms, okay, different type of materials. It's a huge project, and in such complex projects, so this is one of the examples. So in such complex projects, the sourcing is also a very complex process. Now, when we talk about the pain points specifically, the industries which do not use any of the ERPs, it's a very cumbersome process. A lot of documentation is included, a lot of different manpower is and the resources are utilized when we are basically taking into consideration the complex processes of these sourcing. So one example, when we talk about sourcing, let's take an example of a consultancy firm, and we are hiring a consultancy firm for specific designing of the dam. Now we are floating the tender in the market. So this is, let's take an example of an ICB. It's a international competitive bidding, and we need one of the vendor across the globe who can ideally fit into our business and who can work with us. So in this particular context, when we are talking about a global level of procurement or the sourcing process, there are a lot of different strategies which are involved in this process. The different strategies may consist of different stakeholders which are involved in this process from the buyer side, different committees, okay, which are involved in different type of processes like evaluations, the bid openings, and the awardings, and for the other task as financial negotiations. So as we can see on this sheet, there are certain pain points which we have just illustrated over here, like emails and spreadsheet rules, the RFX. Of course, when you don't have any system, then you are using all sort of documents as a paper-based selection process, or maybe everything to anything into the Excel and the Word documents, which is very difficult to manage, right? And there is no audit trail, no version controls, and obviously slow turnarounds, right? Next part is the missed out milestones. Of course, when you don't have anything which is in a control environment, then of course you have a tendency to miss that milestone. For example, there is a date which is being published to the supplier, which is the end date of submitting the bids, but somehow the user who's responsible for that particular task missed that date, and they are receiving the biddings after that also. Maybe after 5 days you realize that okay, this was the last date. So although these are the rare cases, but still the probability is there. So these are one of the pain points which the industries are really fighting with. Then we have when we talk about the single bid events, okay, or maybe the double bid events, or we can say the two envelope or the single envelope events. There are a lot of compliances into that when we talk about the evaluations or the handling of the different committees during the evaluations, the approvals regarding the DOPs, and the approvals with respect to the threshold. So all those compliances obviously will not be easily handled if you don't have certain level of control system. Then you have limited competition, and negotiation is also very big because you don't have everything handy in your hand. right? So you have to collate everything, and the chances of mistakes are more onto it. Then the award into the SAP, of course, this is one of the most critical because you don't have any integration. So when you are using an SAP and you are not using any add-on environment like Ariba Sourcing, then of course you will be having these difficulties when we talk about the integrations or taking all those things into the SAP in a synchronized form. So these are one of the pain points. And another pain points, if we talk about, there are lack of communications. Okay, when we are creating a communication with the suppliers, of course we don't have a single channel where all the things are recorded. The documents which they are sending should be in the single repository. The communications which you are doing are floating around in the emails or maybe the messages over the calls. So of course you are having a lot of difficulty in managing all those things. So these are the few of the pain points, apart from the list of a long list which the industries are facing. So let's discuss about that, how these pain points are getting as a value add or getting sorted when we are talking about Ariba as a sourcing. Okay, so when we talk about Ariba as a sourcing part, these pain points, when we talk about Ariba, they have a template-driven approach. A template means that whatever type of bid documents or whatever type of activities you are doing, these are templatized and these are controlled with the different aspect, which is very easily being formulated and controlled by the respective management also, and which can easily be seen anytime by the users or the committee members as a transparent thing, because when you're using individual paperworks, when you are using individual Excels, you're not aware exactly if something is being taken up into that Excel by some other user. Okay, now when we are talking about specifically Ariba as a central templates solution, of course everything is into one template and it is visible to everyone. So in a control factor, obviously based on different authorizations. So when someone is coming and looking for something, obviously based on those authorizations, they can dig deep into that level. They can drill down to the reports. They can see that what type of different evaluations has been done, which suppliers have been awarded. So everything has been templatized. When we are sending the information to the suppliers as a bidding documents, those bidding documents can also be templatized into the system, so that there should not be any much deviation. When we talk about deviation, of course, when you need to change anything, then of course you need to edit or amend those templates or the bidding documents in the library, sourcing library. So but all those remains at one place. Anyone can access. The user who is creating those bidding documents can easily access them and send to the respective suppliers. So whether it is a single event, whether it's a 2-envelope event, okay, on an RFQ, RFP, RFI, so whatever type of event it is all template solution which is being taken up during the sourcing process. Then we have different reminder processes, as if any due date is, because you have a list of activities and tasks in the templates. So whenever there is a task, due date is approaching, the system sends a reminder based on that particular due date to the specific user who has been allocated for the task. So this is also one of the functionality where you can control those tasks, that this task has been allocated to a specific user, so only he will be able to execute the particular task. And if that task is missed, of course after a particular set of time, he will be receiving the reminders on that. Then of course Ariba can pause, extend or republish the events then based on the approvals. So by chance you have a probability that this event need to be stopped or this event need to be paused for some reason, then you can go ahead and Ariba and then again you can resume it. And you can also trigger the approval as an optional where a specific member can approve, only then the user will be able to stop or do any such amendments. Then we have the reverse auction console, or similarly we have the forward auction console, right? So these are the live auctions, of course, when you have any anything sort of a live auctions, everything is being controlled under these reverse and forward auction processes. Then we have the integration part where, of course, when you are awarding any supplier, then you can directly send that supplier to the SAP by creating a purchase order directly into SAP. So, for example, I have conducted one entire event of the consultancy, and in that consultancy, I have approved one or awarded one supplier based on different evaluation processes. Now, once that supplier is awarded, that remains in your Ariba. So whenever you want, you can send that supplier into your SAP S/4HANA with the help of integration, which is your cloud integration gateway or CIG, into SAP S/4HANA, and the system will create one purchase order through the sourcing event or the sourcing project. So these are the one of the few of the basic things which we have just talked about. So I will just show you with one of the client that what all things we are talking about right now. So this is a screen where you can see that I have opened one project which is a full project, okay, and full project means that different type of activities are going inside the project. So full project, you can do the RFIs also, RFPs also together. So we have the project summary in which the user can see all the details and description of the project. Whatever project information is there, you can see the user, the baseline spend, all the spend related activities which are happening over there. Okay. Then we have custom designed template questions as well as questions which you can insert inside the template before you are going to create a particular sourcing event. And after that, we have this entire end-to-end process as a stepwise detailing over here that you can see on the screen, right, till the time the bid evaluation is done and the awarding is done. After that, under this screen, you can see that list of different tasks and activities are mentioned. So over here, if I say these are the different phases, under these phases you can see different type of tasks or activities are been listed, which is being allocated to a different owner of that task. So that owner could be a project owner who is creating that, or maybe someone in your organization to whom you have allocated that task. And after that, you can see the status. You can also put the due dates onto that. You can click on this, you can add the due dates assigned to this particular task. So for example, let's assign this, press enter, and the system will assign this due date against this task, like this. You can set this task to the start or the end place where you have to start the task. You can click on start the task, and once the task is completed, then you can set it to the complete. Similarly, there are different type of tasks which you can see, like to do task, or maybe this is a evaluation, or maybe this is a approval process. Okay, so different type of different activity, different tasks are being mentioned over here. So all those tasks and everything is being controlled properly. Then you have, as just we have talked about, the templatized solution. So templatized solution is, you can see over here, we have created different templates. Okay, so for example, if I can just click on this, and you will see a specific template which is already there. We'll just open one and we'll just ignore it. So under this you can see, so these are the different templates. So this is entire template. Okay, so if you can see in this template, you have assigned different tasks, you have assigned different event duration, then you have assigned different line items. Okay, what all different line items you are sending to the supplier. Then you can assign different suppliers as well, and after that you can assign the technical evaluation or the technical bid documents as well inside this as a template solution. So the basic understanding is, when we are talking about the value add, of course, when you have everything in hand on a single point, right, of course, then you have when you have access to everything under one console, then of course this will solve a lot of pain points. which currently a lot of businesses facing. So that's all from for this session today. So we'll meet again in the next session, which is specifically for the contract. Thank you so much.